At a time where Canadians are watching their dollars and cents, especially the holiday season, it's fair to ask how responsibly elected MPs are spending our tax dollars.
And CTV National News' Scott Hurst is crunching the numbers for us and joins us live this morning. Scott, what are the latest numbers on travel expenses for the MPs, and what exactly does this mean for us tax-paying Canadians?
Good morning, Phil and Jen. So the travel costs of MPs in the spotlight this morning, $15 million, almost $15 million in travel costs for all Canadian MPs for the first 6 months of the year. And that is about a 10% increase from the previous 6 months. It appears there is a post-pandemic boom when it comes to being able to travel again. Of course, there were several years where travel was tightly controlled, if not restricted at all, because of the pandemic restrictions in place, not just in Ottawa, but coast to coast as well. Many members allowed to join virtually. So many are now getting back to in-office work, in Ottawa work. So that might be able to point to some of the increase in expenditures. But as you mentioned, when so many Canadians are being forced to tighten their belts right now, when there are so many financial pressure points right now, it's fair to ask, with this 10% increase from the previous 6 months, these are the numbers that Canadians deserve to know. And MPs, of course, are allowed to travel. It's part of their job. They're allowed to expense many things related to their travel for their immediate family and their staff. But these are the numbers that Canadians are aware of, as you mentioned, when so many of us right now, Phil and Jen, are forced to tighten our own budgets, asking the government to do the same when travel is up 10% from the previous 6 months at the end of last year compared to the first 6 months of this year.
And Scott, what are the spending numbers for the two main opposition leaders? They're traveling all over this place, especially Prime Minister Trudeau.
Well, of course, Prime Minister Trudeau is a bit separate because the Prime Minister cannot travel on commercial means, so he has to travel with RCAF aircraft, and that is a different category as well. But for the two main opposition leaders, as you might expect, they have the largest travel bills. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, with a first 6 months of the year, budgeting $250,000 is what's been expensed, and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh expensing about $177,000. Now, when we do talk about the Prime Minister, as I mentioned, different category, and these do not include the cost of the Prime Minister and cabinet members' official travel aboard or RCAF aircraft, as well as government vehicles, which would significantly push that travel budget higher. What we do know from a response that we got from the government is that between May 4th and September 21st of this year, for fuel and catering costs for the Prime Minister and his staff's air travel, that exceeded $1.5 million. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Scott Hurst, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.